Another episode in. Today we're talking all about settings. I get a lot of questions in the comment section about how to change this setting, how to change this setting, how to change this setting. So you know what I decided? Let's just make a video about every setting in the game and let's just tell you how to turn things off and how to make things a little bit better. This is going to be super important because it's going to help you level up faster, right? So when you look at the difficulty settings, there's obviously an XP multiplier behind me, and we'll just dive right on into the video. I hope you guys are liking this series. A lot of videos out now. A live stream went out. I hope you guys have been enjoying the launch. But here is another video for you all just about settings and what they all mean, how to turn them on, how to turn them off. An XP multiplier, if you haven't seen my video about how to level up as fast as possible, is very important because the higher the XP multiplier, the more XP you get, the faster you level your player up. So being able to play at a higher difficulty or toggle a couple of things on and off is going to increase your ability to level up faster. So that is basics around this video and what you need. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video. Obviously, you can see here there's a lot of settings to go through. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy, and cut around to where you need to cut around. So let's start here. Real easy. Redeem locker code. You get a locker code for any of like the TGL gear, any of the free stuff that they're giving out. You come over here and you just hit the options button or the start button to get the settings menu. You can do it at any point in the game. Go over to redeem locker code. Type in your locker code. It has to be in all caps. All caps. It has to be in all caps. Type it in. Whatever the locker code is. Click redeem. You're going to get your item there. Very simple. When it comes to social, this is where you're going to toggle a couple of very important things. Cross-platform play. If you don't want to play cross-platform, what that means is I play on PlayStation, you're on Xbox. We can't play together unless this is toggled on. If you don't want to play with anyone other than PlayStation people because you're on PlayStation, then you want this off. All right? Nationality flag shows what country you're from. When you select that, you can toggle that on and off. Ghost scores, you're going to see this a lot when it comes to playing tournament rounds, playing society rounds. There's going to be, you can have ghosts and ghost scores, aka the CPU, your friends who have played at a different time. If you want the leaderboard and you want the ghosts to be shown, this is going to be regarding their scores. So if you had a friend who played it earlier, and you wanted to see their scores populate on the leaderboard to see how you're doing against them, you want that on. And all this stuff is toggled on as well. Auto add friends, it says set to on to allow friends who are playing on the same course as you at the same time in a society match appear on your scorecard as a live ghost. So similar to live ghosts, it's just if you're playing leveled in a game with a specific friend that you guys have hopped in a game together, you're going to see both their scores live on the feed. Turn order animation, there's full animations, quicker animations, no animations. You can pretty much do however you want when it comes to the ghosts and playing in turn order. In-game notifications is going to be pretty important because in-game notifications will pop up whenever you get like XP challenges, whenever you complete challenges. All those are automatically going to pop up on your screen. If you don't want those on your screen and you only want when somebody sends you an invite to play the game, you can just toggle it as invite only. But I like it on. Now this one is extremely important. Extremely important. Third-party data access. What this means is if you play TGC tours, it's like the official tournaments that you can play when it comes to society rounds, the OG version of like tournament rounds. In order for them to get your scores from this game, you have to have this on. This is preset turned off. You have to have this turned on so that way your scores when you play your TGC rounds or your society rounds, if anyone's doing external, scoring on like an Excel sheet or something like that or a website, you have to turn this on, otherwise your scores will never populate. So that rounds out the social aspect. Course designer, I don't dive too much into course designer because there's a lot better people out there who do it. Canuck, there's a whole bunch of people But these are just presets, how many holes you want, what kind of camera you want, object fillers, just presets for your actual course design. I'm not going to dive too much into that. Go check out all of those great course designers that I know, Arctic Fury, Alan Eastwood. There's a whole bunch of them out there that you can definitely go check out. When it comes to graphics, this is a sticking point for a lot of people. You can either choose to prioritize the performance of the game or the quality imagery of the game. So I always do performance because I like, the performance. I don't want any lagging issues. I don't want it to prioritize the game looks visually appealing. I care more about how the game works, how the swing works, and I don't want any issues when it comes to that in competitive play, especially. But if you care more about visually how the game works, you can toggle it to quality. And what that's going to do, it's going to prioritize and reduce the frame rate for you. So that way it can increase the quality there. And you can sharpen it as well. So very simple there. When it comes to cameras, this is pretty important here. When it comes to cameras, there's a couple new approach putting cameras. I am not a fan of them. I like that they added them, but I can show you one of the cameras here, and I just got to drive the ball down to the green. So once you drive the ball down to the green, I can show you guys the new camera here. You got to be within 40 yards or so, and of course I'm 56 yards, but if you're within 46 yards, instead of zooming into the ball, you come to this little wide view here, and you can kind of play around with it and look at it like this. So that is that additional camera there. It is not something that I am a huge fan of, so I do not toggle it on, but it is something that you can toggle it on as well. Follow camera. There's a couple of different modes that you can. There's dynamic, there's on, and there's broadcast. You can just read the definitions. On, camera cuts to the camera during the ball flight. Dynamic, camera cuts to either a follow cam or a different angled view of the ball flight. So rather than it just going directly to where the ball is going, it'll cut to like a cross, kind of like cinematic version of the actual camera. So it's just a little something that you can do there as well when it comes to that. All right, so moving on to other cameras, similar with the putt camera. Like I said, it will follow the ball as soon as it's hit, or it will go to like a cinematic side view. That's really up to you. Putt compensation, I highly recommend keeping this one on. Otherwise, your golfer is going to block out a lot of the putts, and you're not going to be able to see the actual ball go in the hole. Auto instant replays. If you want the rounds to be a little bit faster, you can turn this one off. I usually turn this one off. Automatically queue up instant replays and select shots throughout your round. So you can do this, but you can also just click start and click watch replay if you really want to, and just do it that way. So that's why I toggle this one off to play the rounds much faster. PGA Tour Pro highlights: if you're playing against a pro as one of your rivals, it'll randomly cut during the My Career to one of their like rounds, a couple of their shots, as if it's like a in-game, television cut into. So I don't really like that stuff because it slows everything down. So pre-shot animations, this is going to be like you and your caddy looking down the hole, making sure you guys are talking. I kind of like that feel. It makes me get some extra good visuals that I can capture for thumbnails. So I do keep this one on. There are a couple of different cameras you can use. I know in the putting camera, a lot of people really like the low camera to be their preset. So you can toggle it to low. Full is just more of a zoomed in version of the actual one you can see there in the background. I am now much tighter to this golfer. I don't really like that one because I think it takes away my visibility of seeing the cues that I actually like. So I don't turn that one on. I keep them all on wide, and then when I want to go low with the putter one, you can just push in the stick and get that one to drop. So that's all cameras and what those settings mean. When it comes to audio, this is pretty straightforward. Music, game audio, commentary, crowd. I don't think I really need to touch too much on that. If you can't hear people that you're playing in the game with, or maybe you don't want to, make sure you toggle voice chat on and off. If you're playing online and you don't want to hear anybody, or you don't want them to be able to hear you, you want to turn that one off. I usually turn off all of this other stuff just because, you know, it can get very repetitive and when you're playing the game as much as I play the game. Moving to display and HUD. So this is going to be a little bit slower just because there's a lot of things going on here. A lot of this stuff, so what is your HUD? Your HUD is what is in the bottom right corner of the screen. And that is like the yardage, the club you're using, the tee shot, the to the pin, the mother yardage, the golf ball. All of that stuff is your HUD, your display bar. So this is everything there. If you're ever having any issues with that, you want to go ahead and do that. Let me just fix my camera real quick because this is now annoying me. All right. There we go. So now we're back to the HUD. Like I said, whole information, like this stuff is pretty, like, do you want the wind to be in the HUD? Do you want it off in the, so like all this stuff, wind meter off means it goes to the HUD. Right, so you can now see that the wind meter has disappeared from the actual screen, which was normally at the top of the screen. And if I come back here and I toggle the wind meter back on, you can now see when I go back to it, at the top of the screen, the wind meter is now showing 2 miles per hour. So things like that, that's your HUD and your display settings as well. Now, if we continue on, same thing with lie and club information. Do you want that stuff on? There's a help button, usually at the bottom left corner. My image right now is blocking it. But if you are sick of seeing it say help in the bottom corner, you just come in here and you toggle that off. When it comes to labels containing players' names, you toggle this one on. Shot feedback, post-shot feedback, you can set it up exactly how you want. I leave this one on. High contrast HUD, I do turn this one on, and you'll see your HUD can kind of blend in. So in the bottom right corner, you can see it's kind of like a faded gray color. What I like is I like it to be a little bit more defined. I like it to stick out a little bit more to make sure that I notice all of those numbers. So I usually just toggle this one on. So you can now see it's a much darker gray. It stands out a little bit more. It's not as light. So that is one there for the display and the HUD. And just continuing on down, show flag marker. That's your little arrow marker there. Distance information. So this is on marker. So if you put it on marker, I like to do it because when you get at higher settings, you don't have information on your marker. You can see it says 257 yards, and your marker is that little triangle pointing down, and the little flag that says 486. So what I like to do is when you do get higher settings, they take that ability away from you to display it, but you can toggle it over here and put it in the HUD so that way you can still understand where it is. So now you saw it, the flag, it said 468 yards to the pin. Now the 468 yards is on the bottom right corner underneath 2 pin. It says 2 pin 486. So that little flag, right, that's normally right over here, is now, it no longer says 486. It has been added to the bottom right HUD. All right. So hopefully that helps you on that. When you get into like the legend settings and you're no longer able to see where the flag is, that will definitely help you out as well. Display units, pretty simple: metric, imperial, mixed. Follow, ball cam, golf cam, ball. All of this stuff is that blue trail after you hit the ball, what exactly it does. And if you turn that off, and I'll hit a ball so you can show it and see it. So I hit a ball, that blue trail. If you don't want that blue trail after you hit a shot, whether you're putting or whatever you're doing, you're going to want to just turn that trail off. And I have everything on right now just so that way you guys can visually see everything. But I believe that is everything in the HUD that you need to see. In-game help, I usually turn off. If you want some tips, you can get that there. Club carousel is the selection of your clubs and seeing which club is next, up and down. Challenge messages, those are, like I said, challenges that pop up in the actual game. So that rounds out the display and HUD section. Now let's go to accessibility. Accessibility, it's pretty simple. It's really just two settings. Do you want to hold to get these things, the help menu, or do you want to just toggle them, which means like press them? You can do either one, whatever you want. Really nothing much to that. It's more of just like an accessibility things. Controls, this is where you change your stick. If you are somebody who wants 3-click, you come in here and you use this to change to 3-click. Swing stick means swing, use the joystick. 3-click obviously means click the stick, 3-click. Right aim stick, this is how you change it from the right stick to the left stick. So if I wanted to swing with the left stick instead of the right stick, I toggled this one on. But since I like to swing with the right joystick and not the left joystick, I toggle it off, which is your default setting. Anybody who likes their camera inverted, you can choose how to camera invert it. And those settings, all of those other ones below it, are for all your guests. If you play someone with a guest 1, 2, 3, and 4, or guest 1, 2, and 3, you can change their sticks as well if one of them likes to play vice versa. Now that you got all those other ones, let's get to the most important ones here. And just know at the top you have guest 1, 2, 3, and you have your main golfer, which is the one of your settings. All the other guests can have different settings at the same time. And like I said, these are very important because what they do is they toggle your XP multiplier. So your preset at the top, this is like going to change everything. These are like if you go play on a pro tournament in ranked tours or a masters tournament in ranked tours, whatever the settings are here is what those tournaments are on. But if you're creating a society or you're playing your My Career and you want to make it a little bit more challenging than the presets, you can do that. But if you just want the stock pro settings, the stock master settings, you just toggle this top key and it will toggle that for you. I'm going to put it down to amateur just so that way you guys can see a lot of the things that I have here. Swing difficulty. So now that we're below this, right? So now that we're below this, this is all independent. You can see the top change to custom. Now all of these items are independent and they're going to increase, decrease the multiplier based off of that. So you can legit put everything on amateur difficulty, but have a swing difficulty of legend if you really want. So you can have all the aids on, but you can have a very difficult swing. That is up to you. You can make this game as easy or as hard as you truly want. So swing difficulty is pretty simple. Do you want which swing difficulty you want? Obviously, the higher you go, the more difficult it is. When it comes down to rhythm preference, so rhythm is like your tempo. It is now like a modifier. If you hit a fast shot, it has a bigger outcome. Like it has an outcome on it. If you hit a slower shot, then it's gonna have like there's a rhythm aspect to it. So rhythm preference either includes this or discludes it. So if you have it off, that means rhythm stats don't matter, which means rhythm attributes don't matter. If you play with it for everything except putting, then this is your setting. So rhythm will matter for all of your swings except putting. That is going to be your little inner circle as well. And if you have it on, that means it's on for putting, and rhythm account is for your full swings and your putting as well. So that means your rhythm attributes matter. Whether or not your swing is fluid matters. All of that stuff actually matters, and you won't get increased or decreased distance from swinging too fast or too slow. Swing bias input offset. So this is the new tilted access swing. So you can see here, this is off. If I turn this one on, you can see there's going to be a preset. And if you haven't seen my videos, you definitely want to go check that out. But this is going to affect the lies of the actual, swing and how much it's actually going to do. So if you're going to turn this one on, you got to turn this one on as well. You have to choose, do I want it to affect only the lie angle, which means if it's on a hill, the offset is going to match similarly close to making the shot more difficult because you're on an uneven lie. Shot shaping only, so lie angle only means like it only affects the lie. Shot shaping only means only if you're shot shaping, which is if you're trying to add more spin, create the height. I have a whole video on shot shaping if you want to know what that means. This is shot shaping only, not lie. And on means it affects shot shaping and it affects the lie that you can have. So if we go back into the game now, I turned both of them on. I'm in a little bit of a wonky lie here. I have it on perfect swing. There you go. Now I fixed it. Now you can see here, now my axis on my swing is tilted, right? It's no longer straight up and down. It is slightly skewed here for you. So it is now affecting the shot. You can see the meter is no longer straight. It's on an axis. This is shot shaping and it will affect it. So if you don't want that setting and you just want to play like old 2K23, you can toggle that off and you can just play just like it was in 2K23, straight meters up and down. All right, so I'm gonna toggle it off right now just so we can keep on talking. Vibration, there's a bunch of different vibrations, right? So there's correction only, transition only, and on. So I'll talk about each one of them. Now, correction only, what that means is if you look at the meter on the right, take a practice swing. If the meter on the right, if you go outside the cone little white shapes, correction only, you're gonna see, so like you see how my first meter went way outside that cone, there's a little red at the bottom, that is the correction. So your controller will vibrate because you've missed the zone in your backswing, which means you can notify that and you can stop and reset your swing before you swing. And then when it comes down to transition, that is all about your timing around that outer ring, right? So if you're saying you're hitting a partial shot and you go past the outer ring, your controller will vibrate at that point and it'll tell you pretty much where the top of that backswing is. So one is correction, which is about you hitting the straight up and down meters. The other one is about distance control. I had it on correction only, but if you want it on, that means you're doing both. Correction only, miss the little cones. Transition, where's the top of the backswing to notify where 100% of your swing actually is. So when it comes to lie range, pretty simple. Classic will show you the percentage. So if you're in the rough and it's, you know, an 80% lie, which means the swing's only going to go 80%, it will show 80%. If you're in simulation, it won't show the percentage there for you. So that's pretty much that. Distance control assist. What this actually means is when you actually get to your actual swing, say you're hitting a partial swing, say you're hitting only a half swing, you moved your arrow all the way down, it'll tell you if it's on. Distance control assist will tell you where the half swing marker is. So I can feel a vibration in my controller right here, and it doesn't let me go past it to the top of the backswing. You can see there, it stops my hands at the partial swing. If you have this on, you'll be able to take a full backswing even though you pretty much should only be swinging halfway. So you can see I toggled this off now. I'm still hitting a partial swing here, but I can now go all the way to the top of my backswing. So that is very important information there. It becomes a very difficult setting for you. When it comes to putt preview, that's pretty simple. Do you want to be able to hit a button and it will show you whether or not your putt has a probability of going in or whether it doesn't? So when it comes to course yardage, that one's pretty simple. It's just whether or not you want the course yardage to be displayed, whether you want it to be in the book only. You can access the book by hitting B or circle on your controller, or whether you want it completely off and you don't want to be able to see that. I'm going to cover all the ProVision here in one. So ProVision, what this does is it helps you see the actual effects that you're currently in, right? So what this does is, in this situation, I had a 139-yard shot. There's a 2-mile-an-hour wind helping. So what I'll do is I'll toggle this one on, and now my numbers will automatically adjust per what the wind says. So you come on in here, you can see, oh, it was 141. It was 139. I moved it, but you can now see it's 143, right? So it's now 143, which there was a 2-mile-an-hour wind, which means it increased it 2 yards. So that's pretty much just basics there. And like I'll toggle it off, and now you'll see the 143 will come back to 141, and the wind will pop back up in the top. It says 3 miles an hour. So it just pretty much auto adjusts your marker and your yardage displayed on the screen for you. So that's pretty much what it does. It's just a helper there. At the higher settings, you can't use that though. Same thing with lie penalty. If you are in like an 80% lie, you will, it'll automatically say how far this club can go, and it would adjust for you. So if you hit a 100-yard shot, but you're in an 80% lie, it'll automatically move the yardage on the screen to 80 yards. Lie angle and trajectory. So these are a couple of different ones. Elevation, like I said, same thing. It was up 7, right? So it was 143 up 7, and you just toggle this one on. Let me just toggle it on for you real quick. And you'll see that it will adjust the yardage for you. So now you just saw it drop from, and then it disappeared. It dropped from 141 to 139, and then the up 7 just disappeared. So it's just accounting the numbers for you without you actually having to do that. Stay tuned. I'm going to give my video on how to calculate all of that stuff. When it comes to trajectory, this is all about, the blue lines, the blue arrows, the little arc here. When I come here, you can now see that there's the blue arc, right? So you see the blue arc that I'm moving left and right. If you don't want that on, you just toggle Pro Vision off. So that is all about showing you that one, and the so all the Pro Vision stuff is literally just changing the number for you, moving the marker around. So like for the wind, it will move the marker to account for the wind for you, so you really don't have to worry about that. Scout camera is your ability to zoom in. So scout camera on means you can zoom into the hole and see the hole at a much smaller, closer view. Zooming out means you have to pretty much zoom out. You cannot see it up close. When it comes to lie grid, that's the grid under your feet and whether or not you can see which way it's sloping. Same thing with the green grid. This is your putting green grid. If you want to play like a true sim mode, you don't want anybody to be able to see which way the green is, you turn this one off as well. Pin preference in or out, shot setup feedback, these are all pretty straightforward. It just depends on whether you want to see it or whether you don't want to see it. In, out. Aim marker, marker only, that is your marker out there. If you put marker only, you'll just see the marker and you won't see any numbers on there. You saw the 139, now it disappeared. That is all of the settings. That was a lot of settings, but that pretty much covers everything. I cut this video up so that way you guys can pretty much break it down to whatever one you need. Wind display, meter only, wind speed. That just determines on if you want like the number to display in the actual wind, or if you just want and I'll give you that. So like if you go wind only, meter only, you're going to see like a little shaded circle for when it comes to the wind. You can see there's a little dark blue line. That's how much wind there is. It's usually about, at that sign, it's usually about, 2 to 4. Once it gets to half full circle, that's somewhere between about 10 to 12 miles an hour. So that is a lot of talking, a lot of breaking down. I hope this helped you. Go figure out what settings you need. Increase your XP multiplier as much as possible. We'll catch you guys in another video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.